is Lubna Ahmad, and I'm one of the International Student Advisors, and I'm going to be walking you today through how to apply for your study permit extension online. To do that, you'll need to get to the Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada website, the IRCC website, and by using any search engine, I'm just going to use Google search. I type in IRCC, and then it should take me to the website if I click on the first link there. So this is the home page of the IRCC website, and if you scroll down a little bit and under most requested there, on the right side, you click on sign in or create an account. If you haven't created an account before, so you need to register, and you click here and to register. There are two ways to register your account with IRCC. You can either use the sign-in partner option, which is a little bit faster because it doesn't require you to set up a new username and password. It just allows you to use whatever username and password you're using to access your online banking. This will have, that doesn't mean it connects your online banking to the IRCC account that you'll be creating. It's just for the purpose of logging in only. So you choose your bank and then you log in accordingly. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to use the GCKey, which I have previously created. So I'm going to click on sign in with a GCKey. And as noted before, if you don't have one, you need to sign up first. And the username that I used for my account is advising test 20, and then I'll enter the password I had created, and then I sign in. You always get the option to change your password or recovery questions here, but I'm just going to continue. And then you'll have to see the terms and conditions and accept. And most of the time when you're logging in, it's going to ask you these security questions, which you set up when you create your account. So my security question, where do you work? And I work at University of Alberta. So I'm just going to continue. And then this is what you'll see when you log on to your home page. You'll have a section where you can view submitted applications. Right now there aren't any. You have a section where you can continue applications that are still in progress. Again, nothing here. And under here you have a section to do other things, including start an application. So for me, I'm going to start an application to apply to come to Canada. Even though you're already in Canada, you still have to click on apply to come to Canada. So if you are a student already in Canada with a study permit, this is what you'll be doing to extend your study permit. Now, when you click on apply to come to Canada, you have this section, which is asking for a personal reference code. If you've never done this process before or haven't started an application for a study permit yet, you won't have a code. So you're going to go down to I don't have a code, and then click on determine your eligibility for visitor visa, study, or work. And then you'll get to the assessment questions, which you now have to answer to allow the system to recognize what you're applying for. So what do you want to do in Canada? I want to study. How long? We recommend you choose temporary more than 6 months. Even if you still have one more term left, we still recommend you choose temporary more than 6 months. Select the code that matches your passport. So I'm just going to select United Arab Emirates. You select whatever passport citizenship you have. And then this question, pay attention to it. What is your country of residence? If you are presently in Canada, you should select Canada. So all of you doing this application should select Canada, because you cannot use this process if you're outside Canada. Do you have a family member who's a Canadian citizen or a PR, 18 years or older? So some students confuse this question with, I have an uncle who's a Canadian citizen or a cousin or whatever. The family member in this context is defined as a spouse or common law partner or dependent children only. So if you don't have a spouse or children who are Canadian citizens or PR, then you have to select no. What's your date of birth? I'm just going to select a random date of birth over here. And this is, as you can tell, it's not my correct age. So I'm going to go next. Question will be about if I'm a resident in the US. So going to say no. And then the next question will be, what's your status in Canada? Your status in Canada, if you have a valid study permit, is student. Even if your study permit is expired, you're still a student, so you select student. Next, what is your marital status? For the purpose of this application, I'm just going to select never married. However, you choose whatever applies to you. And then, of course, Alberta is the province of destination. And now the system is telling me you can apply for a study permit, which means I'm on the right track. So we're just going to continue. And then we get this question. Are you accompanying a family member who has status in Canada? Remember, family member here means spouse, common law partner, or children. So if you're here alone, like I selected single, never married, I'm going to say no. But if you are here with your spouse or children, then you have to select yes. And then, do you want to apply for a work permit? Please pay attention to this question. The only work permit you can apply for when you extend your study permit is a co-op work permit. If you're not in a co-op program, and most students, especially graduate students, are not, you cannot just select yes just because you want the co-op work permit. You have to be in a co-op program and have the co-op letter that was issued to you by your co-op advisor to be able to select, yes, I wish to apply for a co-op work permit. So in my case, I'm just going to say no because I don't have that letter. And then I'm going to select next. Now, always remember, you can work with the work permit, without a work permit using your study permit. So you don't need a work permit to work off campus. When does your status expire? Always look at the expiry date on your study permit to find out when it expires. In my case, I'm just going to select, next year, 2021. Where did it go? And I'm going to select March 31st. Is the expiry date of my study permit. And then the next question is going to ask if I had a medical exam performed by a panel physician within the last 12 months. Now for this question, for students who've been in Canada for over a year, you definitely will answer no, because you would have done your medical exam over 12 months ago. But if you've recently come to Canada and you're now, for whatever reason, have to extend your study permit, and it hasn't been 12 months since you did your medical exam outside Canada, then you have to select yes. Otherwise, I'm just going to select no. Now, when you select no to that question, the medical exam question is going to ask you, have you lived in a designated country for more than 6 months in the last year? A designated countries, certain countries are considered designated countries, and if you've been there for 6 months or more in the last year, you do have to do a medical exam. And if you click on the question mark, you can find out. It takes you to a list of which countries are designated, so you can determine that. But if you've just gone home for 3-4 months during summer and came back to Canada, then definitely you'll select no. Next. Do you want to submit an application for a family member? Again, family member is a spouse or children or a common law partner. So I'm single, so I'm just going to say no. You will say yes if you are applying to extend your family members' permits as well. Next. It's asking if I want to give access to anyone, and I'm going to say no, because you should be doing this application on your own. It's very simple if you follow these instructions. Next question is about biometrics. Did I, in the past 10 years, give fingerprints and photo for an application to come to Canada? Now, biometrics have become mandatory for all countries a couple of years ago. So if you've been here recently, within the last couple of years you came to Canada, you probably have valid biometrics already. But if you've been here for quite a long time, 4 or 5 years, back then, not all countries were required to give biometrics. So you may or may not have biometrics. If you're unsure, there are online tools on the IRCC website that can determine whether or not you have valid biometrics. Or if you're unsure, you just say no, just to be on the safe side, and then click on next. There are fees, of course. You have to pay your fees if you want to do it online. And are you able to make a digital copy? Of course, you need to do that if you want to apply online. And then are you going to be paying your fees online? Of course, you need to be saying yes to be able to apply online. And so when you do all these questions, it gives you the opportunity here to correct any mistakes. So make sure you review your answers to all these questions, make sure everything is good. And then if everything you're satisfied with everything, you click continue. If you feel, oh, wait a minute, I answered this question wrong, you just click on this pencil icon. It takes you back to the question and allows you to update your answer. But for now, I'm just going to click continue. And so here are some information about, how to save your application, uploading documents, paying fees. So you can read that before you click on continue down here. And it ultimately takes you to your document checklist. So if you get to this point, that means you did everything right. You should have in your document checklist this form, the IMM 5709, which is the application to extend my stay in Canada as a student. You need to provide a letter of acceptance, passport, proof of financial support, and digital photo. These are all mandatory documents. Now, for letter of acceptance, really, if you are a returning student, so you're a university student and you're extending your study permit at the university to stay in the university level and finish your program, then you don't need a letter of acceptance. What you need to get is enrollment letter, and you can get that from your Bear Tracks under My Academics and then verification documents. The only time I would say someone in Canada who's using a letter of acceptance would be, for example, a high school student who already is in Canada with a study permit and now has been admitted to a program of study at the university level. Then they will be including their admission letter, or someone who just finished undergraduate program and got admission to a master's degree program. That would be those cases where you do include your acceptance letter. But if you're in year 3 or 4 and you're just extending, enrollment should be enough. Sometimes you do need to get a support letter from your faculty if the enrollment letter doesn't indicate the actual expected completion date. So talk to the advisor about that to make sure that you're getting the documents you need. The passport, as you can see here, the instructions say you need to scan the first page with the birth date and country of origin and your picture, and then any other pages with stamps, visas, or markings. So make sure you scan all those pages as one PDF file. Proof of financial support is usually your bank statements for the past 4 months. Sometimes you may need a support letter from your parents if your parents are paying for your education, confirming that they'll be supporting you financially to pay for living and study expenses. Usually I tell students, if you got over 10,000 in your bank balance and it's showing in the statements you're including, then a letter may not be required. But if you have less than that, then definitely it's helpful to get a letter of support from your parent. For graduate students who have a TA-ship or an RA-ship, then you should include your bank statements in addition to a funding letter from your department or supervisor. And finally, a digital photo. If the digital photo you have has been taken within the last year, you can still use it. It's not that big of a deal. Now, these are optional documents, so you don't need to worry about them. If it's a straightforward application. Client information is when you need to explain something. This is where you'll upload your explanation letter. So depending if you have special circumstances you wish to bring IRCC's attention to, then you will include an explanation letter. The fees, as you can see down here, $150 for the study permit and biometric fee. While you may have to pay the $85 when you get to the payment option or the payment page, just know that because all in Canada applications are now biometrics exempt, you can expect a full refund for the $85 paid. So this is basically all you need to do to start your online application to extend your study permit. For the purpose of how to complete this form, we have a video on how to do that, which is, you can check it out in the link in the description below. Thank you for listening and good luck.